You're listening to Pit Pass USA with Larry Henry. To leave comments or suggest future guests for the show, email us at larryhenry@pitpassusa.com. That's Larry Henry at pitpassusa.com. Now back to more of the fastest show in motorsports, Pit Pass USA with Larry Henry.
Well, you probably heard the phrase, always pursue your dreams, and you're never too old to pursue your dreams. Well, my next guest, he epitomizes that because at the age of 55, he decided he wanted to go racing, and he's been doing that since. And he is now 68, and that is Benny Chastain. And Benny, welcome and congrats on pursuing your dream, man.
Well, thanks a lot.
What ever drove you to decide to go racing at the age of 55 when the rest of us are thinking about slowing down a little bit?
Well, things happen in life that you never expect, and that's what my whole life has been right there. And on one strange day, I was single during that time of my life, and this lady that I had went with once before, we went to Panama City as a day trip, and on the way back from Panama City that afternoon, we just walked the beach and ate at a restaurant, shopped around a little bit, and on the way back, the road was blocked, and we couldn't go anywhere, and we stopped and found out what it was. They had a dirt track race at a place called Youngstown, on a track called Boss Hog, and we asked a few people about it, and you know, it was a big end of the season championship race, and I'd never been to the races, and this lady I was with had never been to the races. Her name was Mary, and we talked about it. We decided to go watch the race, and it was really dusty, and it was unbelievable. You had to have been there. But anyhow, they had a powder puff race there also, where women raced, and neither one of us had ever raced anything like that before, and we talked about it on the way back to Tallahassee, and she said it looked like fun, and I said, well, next year I'll get a car and we'll go do that, and that's how it started.
So that's all it was? You were actually on a date, and suddenly the road gets blocked. You wind up stopping at a racetrack, and both you and her get hooked on racing, and there starts the career of Benny Chastain?
Well, somewhat that way, because it all started just as fun, and it was just fun. And I said, well, we have a lot of fun, you know. And the next year we got a car, an old Monte Carlo, and put a cage in it, and it just had a wore-out motor in it and regular tires and everything, and just for fun, we did this, and went there, and I spun out. It's more than anybody could ever imagine right there, because the car was not set up in any way. And she drove it also on the powder puff, and she laughed at me and made fun of me, and she'd go out and putt around in the powder puff race, and after about 3 races right there, she laughed and made fun of me so much. And one night I hit the wall on the start and didn't tear the car up, but went out the race, and she come in and she was just laughing and making fun, and all of a sudden one night she said, "You'll never win a race." And kind of an attitude, and I thought about it for a minute, and I said, "You just wait and see." So then the thing changed from fun a little bit, and I talked to some guys at the track there, and they helped me set the car up, and we put good tires on it, and we set the front end up where it would turn turns properly, and put new springs and new shocks on the car, and weighted the car down so it balanced out weight-wise right. And before the first season was over, we won 2 thirds, 2 seconds, and 2 firsts. And she didn't laugh anymore.
I bet so. So really, you had no racing background whatsoever when you got into this thing?
None. I mean, street racing a little bit, you know, on this drag racing, but that was it. I mean, nothing, just fun. And this started out as just fun. And after the first year, she didn't laugh no more. Well, the second year, I put a new motor in the car, and I went out there and won 11 firsts and 7 seconds. And boy, nobody laughed anymore, and everybody hated me. They don't. I was an outsider. We were from Tallahassee, and this track was over Youngstown, and so we didn't go back there no more. And things drifted on along, and we tried to run an asphalt track, and went to Montgomery one time, and Pensacola one time, and Lake City one time, and it just didn't work out. And by chance, I've been in the body shop business since '89. One of the ventures I've been into, one of these things that happened that I never dreamed would ever happen. And we painted cars for a guy out of Panama City that raced in the ARCA and the Busch and the Cup Series. His name was Phoenix Construction, and they had a car that we painted that they bring over. One of the guys that worked for us worked for this team over there. It was a Cup team. They ran all the races, and he's still in. His name is James Finch.
Right.
I don't know what his car number is, but he has a team, and they still run races. But we painted their cars, and I'd see the car in the body shop there, and I'd look at it and sit in it. And the guy that worked for him, that worked for us also, he told me I could drive one if I wanted to, and so I didn't want to do that. I didn't think it's possible, because that was out of my league completely. And over time, I'd ask him questions about this, and he said, well, if you want to learn how to drive with these cars, you got to go to school. So he told me about it, where I need to go to, and it's a fast track racing out of Charlotte, and with Andy Hillenberg.
Right, know him well, yeah.
And he, I contacted them maybe after a year, and found out what all was available, and Mary and I talked about it, and ultimately, both of us went to a 3-day school in Atlanta, I'm going to say in about 2002. And she did better than I did, because she would listen and she didn't try to go too fast. But it was a lot of fun, and we had a good time.
Well, Benny, okay, you got this start, age 55. Here you are now at the age of 68. AARP has come on board as a sponsor, and you've got this dream now. Some people say you're out of your mind, but you want to qualify. You want to at least have a chance to qualify for the Daytona 500. Why? Has this been a goal of yours now once you really got serious about racing?
Well, I mean, one step led to another, and ultimately, the guy that I've raced with for the last 4 or 5 years, I asked him, was it possible to get in the Daytona 500, just to try to get in one time, and he said, it's possible. And he thought we could probably get in here without any problem right there, but it's turned out to be a little bit hard to get in there. Bob Schatz is his name, and he's been doing this 20 years, almost all of his life. And he's really intelligent and smart and knows his way around. But as it's working out, it don't look like we'll get a chance to try this year to get in the Daytona 500. But they've told me things if I did. The people at NASCAR has told Bob that if I did certain things next year, he wants us to run maybe 8 or 10 TV races in the ARCA series and run 3 or 4 races in the Nationwide series. If we do that and we finish these races reasonably well right there, then supposedly they would let me attempt to get in the Daytona 500.
Well, you've already raced Daytona, right? We were talking before we started. You've run in the ARCA race at Daytona and also Talladega?
Yeah, we've run about 5 or 6 ARCA races at Daytona. We've qualified. Every time we went there, we got in the race, every time. And we've been to Talladega, I think, 4 times, and we missed getting in one time because we had trouble with our car and couldn't get through tech and everything, and we didn't make the race. But that's life, things happen.
Benny, how much fun are you having? I mean, here you are, as I said before, you're pursuing your dream, you're going after it, you've got this goal of at least having a chance to qualify for the Daytona 500. Maybe you won't make it in, maybe you will, who knows? I mean, it's a very tough cookie to get into with the top 35 guaranteed and the way they qualify and the qualifying races, and you got to have a good car and all of that stuff. But how much fun is this, pursuing this and then having a great sponsor like AARP on board?
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't keep on doing it this year at Talladega. I raced there in March, I think it was, and that was my last race. And if AARP hadn't have, that's where it started, was there, basically. I sent AARP a fax, and it was a picture of my car that I was going to run at Talladega. I talked to David Rosenberg up there a number of times, but, it sounds good, but then it don't work out, and it sounds good and don't work out. So this was my last hoorah, and I faxed him a picture of the car, and I faxed him another 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that had 1-inch print on it. It said, Benny Chastain, AARP member, don't let age slow you down, class of 60, going on 70 at 185 miles an hour, Talladega Motor Speedway, April 23rd, 5 p.m., be there. And that got on his boss's desk, I think, or something like that. And it got to be, they liked the idea, and before I know it, they called me up and wanted to meet with me in Charlotte.
Benny, this is just an incredible story. I love stories like this. I love great racing stories and enthusiasm, and it's kind of a throwback to a lot of guys that I know. When I sit down and I talk to like a Bobby Unser or a Johnny Rutherford and what they did in their early years, because I've gotten to know them over the years, how they came up and went racing. It's kind of like what you're doing. You got a passion for it. You want to do it. You're living a dream. You got some people behind you, and you're going to go for it. And if you succeed, you succeed. If not, well, at least you didn't give up on the dream. And I just think that is so American that it's great. I doff my hat to you, man.
Hey, listen, with that ARP, and I've encouraged so many people that are over 50. I mean, you don't slow down. I still go all I can go. I know I'll slow down at some point. It's starting to happen already. But, I'd encourage anybody, especially if they call themselves retired, to don't be afraid to try anything unless you're just physically not able. And because I've worked around kids all my life, which is one thing I'm still kind of kid-like in a lot of ways and hadn't grown up in a lot of ways, but that's why I think they put on there when I grew up I want to get the Daytona 500. I hadn't grown up yet, probably. And my wife tells me all the time, you act like a kid all the time. Well, hey, I tell her it's not an act.
That's right. You got to enjoy life. Hey, Benny, I appreciate you talking with me today, and we'll be looking for you at least in the ARCA race at Daytona come February.
No problem. We'll be there.
That is Benny Chastain, all of 68, want to make it to the Daytona 500, started racing at 55. God love him, right? I just love that, and you're never too old to pursue your dreams. Next up, we've got some news items and some other breaking things going on in the world of racing. We return to Pit Pass USA, part of the Power Up Motorsports series on VoiceAmericaSports.com.